Hello to my fellow glorious Gaians. Thank you for joining me, Amber, on my channel, Guidance Through Gaia, where I do tarot card readings. So today we're going to be looking at New Year, who dis. The format is really, what are we leaving behind in 2023? And how is that going to affect our year in 2024? And since this is a general reading, everybody is going to be kind of at different stages, I anticipate. So for instance, when we lay out the cards for what has been left behind, some of you may recognize that as, yeah, like I'm done with that behavior. Like I'm not engaging in that anymore. Others may feel like, well, this is something that I'm trying to work on, but I haven't really overcome this yet. And I mean, it could be a habit. It could be an object, like a person or a place. It could be a perspective, like really anything. And if you follow New Year's resolutions, it could relate to that, or it could be something totally different from that. I was reading about how in order to stay motivated, it's important to really focus on our progress and like not so much our goal. And personally for myself, like I find that to be true because I can get really easily dissuaded and feel as if I'm not moving very far. So it's just helpful to be able to look at what we have accomplished, so that we can see like we are making progress. We are moving somewhere, and we are making a difference. So we have 3 piles. We have pile 1 represented by Ganesha, the elephant god. I'm so bad at telling directions when it comes to this. We have pile number 2 represented by a bone. And then pile number 3 with a flower charm. And you can choose one, you can choose all of them. Doesn't matter, but whatever you do, I'll see you there. Hello, pile number 1. You chose the charm of the Hindu god Ganesha. So this is going to be a reading on what you've left behind or what you are leaving behind in 2023 and how that will affect your 2024. So we're going to lay out these cards, and these are going to explain what it is that you've left behind, whether it's something physical, something emotional, a perspective, etc., etc. Then I have tarot here to indicate like how that's going to affect this year. And then we've just got some affirmation cards and some oracle cards to kind of give some support and advice. So we've got Gnosis, which is letter number 75. We've got number 39 with nature spirits. We've got number 37, get out of your head. Number 32, just trust. I don't usually take these in the reverse, but I don't know. So it felt right for this reading. We've got 22 with Mars and motion. And then we have the card Triple Moon. So there is a very common theme of religion and spirituality here. We've got Ganesha, who is a Hindu god, but is also included in like some Buddhist practices. And there was another belief system that it started with a J and I can't remember what it was. And one thing that was notable about Ganesha is that he is worshipped between like all denominations of Hinduism and all castes. So he would be considered, I would think, a very powerful, prominent figure in religion. And he's multifaceted. So he's considered like the god of luck and balance, the god of beginnings and endings, the god of knowledge and wisdom. So really, Ganesha is the kind of deity who can support you in all aspects of life. There was what is it? A legend that goes about, crap, I don't want to mix this up too badly. Is it Shiva that's his mom? I think it's Shiva that's his mom. Or is it Parvati? I don't know. But his mother, according to one legend, crafts him out of clay and wants him to keep his father or her significant other or whatnot from barging in on her while she's bathing. And then when he attempts to do that, the masculine deity cuts off his head, and then it's replaced with an elephant's head. And it should be noted that elephants, they don't forget, you know, and they're very empathic creatures. Like, they mourn their dead. So that's very interesting. Gnosis really talks about knowledge itself, but it has a connotation that's very associated with religion. And it's religion that kind of maybe deviates a little bit from, like, if you're looking at Christianity, it might deviate from like traditional Catholicism or baptism or whatnot. We've got the term agnostic, which means that we believe in something higher or something more, but that we don't really have a definition for it. Then we've got the triple moon, which talks, I mean, that's a very common symbol in spirituality, especially like with Wicca or other forms of spirituality. You know, you've got the maiden, the mother, and the crone. And then we have nature spirits, which talks about paganism and going out and worshiping nature gods. And then even Mars is interesting because it talks about being in the upright position. This is a sign that you are being divinely protected and that there is kind of a guardian in charge of you. And so this is a very interesting spread all about kind of this trust in something bigger and relying on something other than yourself. So, I mean, even with the triple moon, you know, that's just talking about like phases ending and then a new one beginning, you know, so as if like trials that you're facing are impermanent and will lead to something else. Mars is a planet of action and it can be very aggressive. I feel like in connection with all of this, it really signifies a life that's passionately led by religion. I just saw 6-6, you know, or spiritual beliefs. Something that's, I think, been very much a part of your life and very traditional. Like maybe it's something that you grew up with and your family still is involved with, or maybe you attached yourself to it at some point because like you were struggling or searching for answers, and maybe now you've gotten to a point where you've kind of outgrown it. And there also does seem to be, though, this kind of like imbalance, this non-committal behavior, this wishy-washy thing, because I mean, Mars is all about motion. It's about taking action. But then you've got the nature spirits, which kind of feels to me like inaction, you know, more passive energy. We've got the triple moon here, which talks about kind of accepting things for what they are and allowing the cycle to complete, which is very passive. We've got just trust in reverse, which to me feels like this anxiety, this idea of like, I need to know what's going to happen. I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel safe. I don't feel confident. But then you've got get out of your head. Where's your head at? Where's your head at? And so it feels like this is something that maybe you've been battling with for a while. And I think you're ready to take a more firm stance on it. I'm going to say that most likely for this pile, those of you who chose this are probably going to step outside of this spiritual or religious belief, or at the very least, not force it to kind of define your choices or yourself as much. And I'm going to say that I totally 100% support that. I know when I separated myself from my religious roots, like it was hard because that meant that I didn't really know what was going on. And it would also, I knew, kind of create a rift between me and my mother, who was my closest, the person I'm closest to in my life. I was very dependent on her growing up. And she's always been very supportive of me. And that was a terrifying step to take. But it's okay to outgrow something, even something like religion or spirituality. I certainly, oh yeah, that was one thing that was about like Gnosis, was talking about like with Gnosticism, this belief of like an all-powerful deity that's the good guy, and like a deity that's the bad guy, that's the bringer of damnation. So I think you're just kind of letting go of these really strict definitions of what exists outside of yourself. And maybe you've just kind of feel like atheism is what's best for you. Or maybe you want to explore a different opportunity, or maybe you just don't want to focus on it anymore and you're just like, whatever is will be. So we're going to see how letting that go. The 8 of Wands in reverse is going to affect okay, the 2 of Pentacles in reverse. The 4 of Cups in reverse. And I'm going to put that with the King of Cups in reverse with the 9 of Swords in reverse. I'm going to get 2 more cards. The 8 of Cups in reverse. And the Knight of Swords. So first of all, I definitely think that it's how it will affect you is I think there's still going to be a process. I don't feel as if it's like, I let go of this one thing and then all of a sudden everything else is clear. I think there's going to be some unpacking to do, about from adhering to all of this, like how did it affect my emotional development? How did it affect my social circle? How did it affect my definition of myself? And because especially when you've been attached to something for so long, or you've identified with it or adhered to it, when you walk away from it, the path before you is uncertain. And I think you are going to embrace that, you know, especially with this Knight of Swords here. This is like a movement of thought. I do think you are going to be very progressive in your journey. That you are going to be analytical, that you are going to be observant. And with this Four of Cups in reverse, you know, that's talking about letting emotions go. Everything that we've withheld is being exposed and released. And I think that's really beautiful with what we have here, the King of Cups in reverse. The King of Cups in reverse is somebody who is like, they can't manage their emotions very well if they do express them. They might be somebody who holds them in so much and then it explodes, or they might be somebody who denies their feelings a lot. And then we've got the Nine of Swords, which is all about anxiety. You know, you see how painful this experience is for this person crouched over. I mean, yeah, they got knives in their back, but look at that. They're not like trying to pull the knives away. They're gripping their head. You know, there's this sense of grief and an inability to process. And I think that's what you're letting go of. You know, you're letting go of restricting yourself, and you're also letting go of worry. Now, with this Eight of Wands in reverse, this can talk about a slow journey. You know, you might not see movement in your life or in your perspective as much as you would have expected. It can also talk about kind of moving in a direction without really planning for it, or without having, I don't know, I guess a direction or intention. So you might be in a position where you are navigating your life and yourself, and you might not be moving as quickly as what you want to or as you'd expected, and you might not really have a direction at this point in time. And let me just say, that is okay. Like, you don't figure out where you want to go by not checking out different paths, you know? Like, sometimes you don't even know what you want at first, but the more you continue to investigate, the more you realize, like, oh, this is what works for me, this doesn't. I'd like to get to this point. The Two of Pentacles in reverse can talk about a lack of balance. And since it's Pentacles, we're thinking of like root chakra, we're thinking of stability. So whatever this connection was, this idea, this faith, it probably felt as if it was your foundation. You know, it gave you hope, it gave you solid security. And then without that, it may feel as if you're kind of wibbly wobbly. Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. I don't even know why that came to mind. Weebles were not my generation. I do want to see if there's anything more we can get about this Two of Pentacles. Oh, okay. Yep. The Ace of Swords in reverse, because there's no definition of truth to you at this point. See, a lot of truth is subjective. I mean, we can look at certain things like, I don't know, what's a truth? I don't know, 2 + 2 = 4. Like, that's an absolute truth. If you just have those two numbers in that sequence, like, it is 4. Or water is wet. You know? I suppose that it depends on like how you process the feeling of wetness, because somebody who might have a different sensory experience could object to that. But anyway, that's kind of the whole point. Like, spirituality and religion, a lot of times we like to assert things. You know, like there is, you know, God sent Jesus down and sacrificed him for our sins. And if we don't believe in him, then we are going to hell. Or, you know, you will continue to reincarnate until you master 100% like contentment, and then you will be elevated into nirvana. Or I don't know. What's another one? Even with tarot readings, you know, and the spiritual community in here where we are like, yes, you know, your Akashic Records this, or Divine Feminine that, or, you know, I mean, it's chakra this. Like, none of it is actually proven. Like, in reality, empirically, we don't know shit. And that's okay to admit. Like, that is fine. Is there an empirical truth? Yes. And it could definitely be that there is nothing else out there. I mean, with lack of evidence, the most reasonable assumption is that there's nothing else out there. You know, we all have, for those of us who believe in something more, we all have our own reasons for it, you know, but those reasons would be our subjective truth. Like, my subjective truth is that there is no creator. That there is nobody who is cueing us to either go to heaven or to hell. That nobody is keeping tally of what we're doing. You know, that there's no divine plan. My subjective truth is that there's a sort of energy that exists, for lack of a better term, as a result of creation and as a result of existence, and that we can connect with it at times, and that we can be pulled towards situations and towards people in what others might consider like destiny, but that really we do have free will. We can always make decisions that lead us into different situations. You know, is my truth the right truth? Who fucking knows, right? Like, that's not the point. It's what helps me. And then this Eight of Cups in reverse, I'm very interested in seeing what that's about, because that talks about not walking away. The Two of Swords in reverse with the Three of Swords. Wow. So the Eight of Cups is all about walking away from a situation that isn't beneficial to us anymore. And with the Two of Swords in reverse, that's like not knowing which direction to take or refusing to make a situation. And then the Three of Swords indicates pain, heartbreak, misery, betrayal. I want to know what this relates to. Is this like people or thought process or the Star in reverse, a lack of so the Star comes after the Tower, which is, you know, a destructive monumental event that occurs for the betterment, because it previously was on a foundation that wasn't supportive anymore, and so it's destroyed so that it can be created into something new. The Star comes after that to signify hope after such a traumatic event. But the Star in reverse can talk about doubt regarding hope. So I want to see if I can get any more info on the Two of Swords in reverse. Like, we've got the Death card. So this could indicate that there is going to be a shift in a relationship dynamic or in a situation that is, ultimately a result of your changed perspective. And that might be very painful for you. When I told my mom that I was exploring witchcraft, and she told me that she loved me and that it didn't change her opinion of me, but that it did create a spiritual divide between us, I ended that conversation devastated. Like, my heart was so broken. I bawled as if somebody had just died. And, it was painful. I wanted acceptance from my mom. I wanted her to respect my decision. I wanted to include her in it, in that part of my life. And that was not something that I could do. And after a while, what I realized was, I can do whatever the hell I want. It's my life. I don't have to live for her approval. I love you, Mom. But, and we still talk and stuff like that. But, I just had to kind of accept that was going to be her perspective of it. And it would change how we interacted to an extent. But at the end of the day, don't hide a part of yourself or prevent yourself from progress just because of how someone else may react. If it's what's best for you, then you should do it. So let's get a card. Here. Oh, it is safe to look within. As I move through the layers of other people's opinions and beliefs, I see within myself a magnificent being, wise and beautiful. I love what I see in me. Holy crap, guys. Absolutely, that is what we're talking about here. People are going to have thoughts about you and the decisions that you make in your life. Especially the people closest to you. And at the end of the day, respectfully, they can get over it. Don't let them inhibit your growth, and understand that you are a magnificent being, wise and beautiful, and love what you see in yourself. Ooh, peach tree. Pleasure. The peach tree, 43. When the fruit falls to return to the earth, it is sweet and soft. So will it be for you. And I love that, because what I feel is that this is saying, come home to yourself. Don't maintain an opinion or a lifestyle because it makes other people feel comfortable, okay? Do what comes naturally to you, and it will make you feel significantly better. You will be happier. You will be healthier. It will be a bit of a struggle sometimes, as you are learning to navigate this part of your identity. But it is worth it. I'll tell you, since I've been exploring my spirituality, it has helped me. I took ownership of my life for the first time, really. I am more confident in myself. I'm able to express myself in ways that make me feel more empowered. And it's really been a system that has benefited me. And not because of the spirituality or the spiritual teaching itself. That's not necessarily the answer. If someone sits there and tells you this religion, this belief will protect you and keep you safe and be your answer to all your problems, bullshit. It will work for some people. It won't work for everybody. So it's best to explore what works best for you. So the peach tree says, a symbol of eternal youth and wealth, forecasts great emotional happiness and financial riches for you. Fruits of past labors are ripe and ready to pick before they spoil. Because the peach expresses the birth of ideas, something begun in the spring, when the delicate blossom appears, could come to fruition in the fall. The oval leaves, pointed with notched edges, symbolize taking small steps to achieve an aim. Past failures should not deter you. Your success is in rising anew as the peach tree grows again from fallen fruit. This tree predicts all sweet gifts, enjoyment, luxury, and happiness for you. So group 1, you may experience delays, you may experience doubt, you may experience confusion and pain, but you are also going to be releasing a lot of negative worries and emotions. And you are also going to be taking control and exploring what works best for you. And you are going to find success, and you are going to feel better about yourself so long as you stay true to what is best for you. So group 1, I hope that this reading was useful for you. If it resonated, please let me know how in the comments section down below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please consider doing so. If you don't, that's okay. You're still part of the fam bam. But if you do, you can also hit that notification bell and find out whenever I upload new videos. And if you're interested in a personal reading, I do offer them. Go ahead and find my contact information in the description box down below and send me a message. Bye. Hello, group number 2. You chose the bone charm, and this is going to be a reading on what you've left behind in 2023 and how that will affect your year in 2024. So say hello. You guys are the first ones to see it. This is my new desert rose. I just love it so much. There was this shop in Minneapolis called, I think it's called Awakening. I don't know. It was a cute little shop. So I went there after an event that I attended. Anyway, she's beautiful. We love her. So we're going to get started. This pile right here is going to describe the situation that you are leaving behind or that you are working on leaving behind. And then we're going to use tarot to look at how that will affect the rest of this year, and then get some message cards. So when I see the bone, I see a couple of things. I think of foundation, the very, what we call like the bare bones, what is absolutely necessary. And I also think of like taking scraps, give a dog a bone. A situation where maybe you have accepted less than what you've deserved. And so we'll see how that plays out with these cards. We have number 36 with death. We have card 62 with the sword. We have card 39. And it says better than you can imagine, but it's in reverse. And I don't normally accept these in reverse, but it felt right for this reading. Excuse me, I was readjusting. We have card number 8 with Scorpio and investigate. And we have this card with you. I don't know. So the first thing that I notice is we do have a lot of Scorpio energy here, obviously with the Scorpio card, but the death card in tarot is represented by Scorpio. And then this card right here is about transformation. And so it does seem that in 2023, you did make some big changes, probably to your life or to yourself. And I think you were really looking forward to reaping rewards based off of that. It's like when we feel that we've made this huge accomplishment, and we're like, we can't wait to see where this takes us. What doors is this going to open up for us? And so we just kind of have this youthful optimism. But I would say, first, with this investigate situation, Scorpios can be very investigative. They can be somebody who notices the finer details and keeps stock of information. Scorpios can also get attached pretty quickly, and they can feel a very deep emotional connection. And so you may be somebody who does experience that that reality, where in 2023, especially with, I think, romantic connections, as we see here with this rose, you may have been searching for a romantic partner and at one point or another, or maybe multiple times, gotten really excited, like, oh, I think this could really go somewhere. This situation seems like it's perfect, and you may have gotten incredibly attached to someone very quickly, or really exposed yourself, like your soul, like very quickly. Because Scorpios are people who are they thrive on intimacy, and they thrive on deep connections. They are individuals who want a connection with depth. That's what they feed off of. But I feel like with the Death card over here and this better than you can imagine card, it was disappointing. This Death card over here kind of makes me feel like someone handed you a poison rose. I don't know, maybe that's kind of a weird way to say it, but it just seems like the offers that maybe you did receive were less than satisfactory, And with this better than you can imagine in reverse card, it feels like, yes, you did go through this transformation, as I don't remember what it's called. I don't think it's pupa. But whatever it is that transforms into to a dragonfly, you went through this like incubation period. We see this fetus right here, and then entered into this state of being a dragonfly. And you see this eye right here that it's kind of like gravitating towards or holding, as if, it's got a higher level of intelligence now. It's ascended in some way. We can even look at this as kind of like a pyramid. But it seems like it wasn't better than you imagined, that it was lackluster, that it was anticlimactic, that you may have felt like, wow, I got my hopes up. Like, I really thought something real was going to happen here. And you may have been extremely disappointed by that. And the Eel card talks about innocence, the lamb, and about being patient. And so I feel like this is really representing the character of who you were in 2023, just kind of having this innocence to you, this intent, like pure intention, and being very gentle and patient, maybe giving people the benefit of the doubt too often, or maybe not asserting yourself as much, or maybe kind of like not admitting what your needs are as much, and focusing more so on other people. But with this sword card, the sword card talks about cutting the cord, and it talks about having to make a decision. And so this does remind me, of course, of the Suit of Swords in tarot, and which is very like intellectual energy. And so I do feel that maybe you were in your head a lot, kind of like teetering this, like, should I continue the pursuit of these relationships? Should I just focus on myself? Maybe having hope that, yes, something will work out. And then other times feeling as if, no, they won't. And I think you did struggle to kind of cut the cord. Maybe it was something that you thought of doing, and it really took a lot of effort to get to the point where you were able to make that decision. Or maybe you haven't made that decision yet. You know, maybe you're not at that point in your life yet. But I feel like there was a lot of optimism that you experienced the past year, and maybe, you know, that optimism is what kind of has been left behind, you know. So we're going to see how that's going to affect your 2024, excuse me. I've actually been really good about correctly identifying the year, which surprised me because I usually struggle with it. I'm usually the person that it takes a couple months to figure out, like, oh yeah, we are in the next year. Okay, so how will this affect Group 2's 2024? The Ace of Cups in reverse. That makes a lot of sense right off the bat. How will this affect Group 2's 2024? The King of Wands in reverse. Okay. With the Page of Cups. Interesting. How will this affect Group 2's 2024? The Six of Pentacles. How will this... I've got hair stuck in my deck. How will this affect Group 2's 2024? The Queen of Swords. Very interesting that we have the Queen of Swords here and then we have the sword over here. I love that, though. So first of all, I do think that largely you're going to be more discerning. This Ace of Cups in reverse, to me, talks about being more reserved when it comes to exploring emotional connections or expressing yourself emotionally, or even allowing yourself to develop emotional attachments right away. And I don't think it's a refusal to do so. I don't think it's this mentality of like, well, I'm never going to let anybody in. I'm never going to love anybody again. It's just kind of more of a, you know what, I'm tired of playing games and I'm not going to offer myself so easily to people, which, guys, I have so much Libra in my chart. It's ridiculous. I have, oh God, what is it? My Libra in rising. My rising, yeah. My Venus is in Libra. I feel like there's something else, and then there's my Lilith is in Libra. But having a Venus in Libra is really a challenge for me because that's the planet that rules Libra. And so when you have a Venus in Libra or Taurus, like that behavior is kind of exalted, you know? So it's a lot of focus on things that are pleasurable. Relationships can be very romantic, you know, idealizing having an intimate connection. And so it can be very difficult for us sometimes to refrain from developing that so quickly. But I think there's going to be more discernment there. I do want to see what this King of Wands in reverse is with the Page of Cups, because the King of Wands in reverse can be somebody who's either more of like totalitarian, you know, it's their way or the highway. They may have a strong temper. It can also be somebody who's not ready to take action, you know, who may not feel confident in taking action or doesn't know how to approach the situation. So I want to see what that's about. Let me take this. Oh, the Seven of Pentacles. Okay, which is very, very interesting because, you know, we have these, the King of Wands are a suit of passion and creativity. Cups are a suit of, like, emotions and creativity. And then we've got the Pentacles, which is all about stability. The Seven of Pentacles is about working our way up. Taking the time to do something the correct way. And not taking any shortcuts, not cutting any corners. But really either, you know, enjoying the process or respecting the need for the process. And so how I interpret this is you are going to be somebody who maybe in the past you were more proactive. Maybe you were somebody who approached people more quickly. Okay, so if you... Let's say if you were on a dating site, you know, you might have been the person to meet up. Maybe after a few dates, you were the person who was just like, hey, you know, like, I think this is going really well. Would you like to make this official? You might have been the person who was the first to initiate physical affection, something like that. You know, you may have had a presence that was more like take charge, because I think you're just somebody who goes for what they want, and that's a beautiful trait. But I think you're reeling that back in 2024, and you're not making any movements. You know, you might be working on yourself or on your own life. But you are waiting with this Page of Cups for somebody to make an offer to you, and you're being patient about it. You're not rushing into it. And I think even with the Seven of Pentacles, you would make somebody else work for it at this point. You know, I think that you're interested in seeing who is going to prioritize you and who is going to demonstrate that they value you and that there's interest. The Six of Pentacles indicates to me that you're going to be giving the energy that you get. You know, like... Yeah, with the Ten of Cups. So you're not going to be overextending yourself, pile two. You're not going to be filling somebody's cup entirely and then emptying your own and expecting maybe they'll return the favor when they don't. You're going to give the same kind of energy back. You're going to be a mirror to the people in your life. You know, if they show you that they value you, you're going to do the same. If they are not making you a priority, if they're not being, I guess, like, forthcoming with what their intentions are, like, then you're just not even going to bother, you know? Because I think you understand now kind of what you're worth, and you're just tired of giving people way more than what they deserve. And with the Queen of Swords here, I think this means that, you know, in 2024, you're going to be somebody who is more observant, and you evaluate people and situations more instead of just jumping right into them. And I think that you're going to be more practical and more communicative, you know, because for me, love, there has to be some passion in love. There has to be a little bit of getting carried away. But there also has to be a sense of practicality. Like, is this person somebody that is safe, you know, to trust with my feelings? Somebody that I believe has good intentions towards me, and that I feel safe with, you know? And so I think you're going to just really be somebody who still longs for, because there's a lot of cups here, but still longs for that deep emotional connection, that person you can be mushy with, you know, and romantic with, but that you are biding your time, knowing that it'll be worth the wait to to be a little bit more selective. All right, and so we're gonna get some messages from the universe. All right, universe. What do you want to tell pile 2? This is interesting. Okay. I'm going to pull one more because this may be like really specific for some people. But it says, I see my parents as tiny children who need love. And it says, I have compassion for my parents' childhoods. I now know that I chose them because they were perfect for what I had to learn. I forgive them and set them free, and I set myself free. So some of you may be going through like childhood wounds that involve your parents, and maybe that created, maybe that might have affected how you chose a partner or how you showed up in a romantic situation. And 2024, I think for some of you is really about like coming to terms with the people in your life that made that imprint, and learning to like let it go and explore healthier relationship dynamics. Let's get one more though, just because. Oh, that one's a blank one. Some of these cards are like blank so that you can write your own message in there. Holy crap. Okay. I let go of all expectations. I flow freely and lovingly with life. I love myself. I know that only good awaits me at every turn. Absolutely. You know, and just because you may not have any expectations does not mean you don't have standards. I trust my inner wisdom with this Queen of Swords here. As I go about my daily affairs, I listen to my own guidance. My intuition is always on my side. I trust it to be there at all times. I am safe. And you may have like, I don't know, had these little intuitive nudges about people that you chose to ignore. And then looking back on it, you were like, oh my God, I was so right. I am safe in the universe, and all life loves and supports me. I breathe in the fullness and richness of life. I observe with joy as life abundantly supports me and supplies me with more good than I can imagine. Yeah, so I think this is really, you know, about trusting yourself and choosing to still have a positive outlook on life and relationships, even though you may have gone through some heavy letdowns. And what else? So this is an earth tree. It's the U tree. It's kind of funny that we had like the U and now the U, and it says renewal. Inner spiritual strength is renewed, bringing peace, certainty, and stability to nourish your soul. We're going to get more into that, but right away, I do feel that this is talking about maybe, you know, in 2024, you're going to really be reconnecting with yourself or connecting with yourself more intimately for the first time. And you may actually end up working on your spirituality, connecting with the universe in whatever way makes sense for you. Just as the yew tree possesses an immortal ability to renew itself, so too do you. Living for centuries, it is a silent witness to the passing of time. Evergreen, its red, waxy, cup-shaped berries enclosing a small poisonous seed predict protection. A good thing in your life will continue, just as a branch grows down inside the hollow trunk, embedding itself in the soil to sprout a new tree. If you remain working quietly at what you want, like the inconspicuous small female flowers, you will attract your aim. Like the Seven of Pentacles here. Communication will surprise you in the same way that the large, bright yellow flowers on male trees throw out clouds of yellow pollen when ready to mate. I think that's beautiful. Yeah, so that's kind of a testament to, hey, even though there have been setbacks and disappointments and moments of being hurt, you still have a lot of vitality in you. And you are tenacious and strong and have the ability to renew yourself in an amazing capacity. So group number 2, I hope that this was useful for you. If it resonated, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you liked this reading, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't joined our family, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button and the notification bell so you'll know whenever I upload a new video. Also, I am offering personal readings, so go ahead and send me an email at guidancethroughgaia@gmail.com if you are interested, and we'll start a discussion. All right, take care. Bye. Hello, group 3. You chose the flower. So this will be a reading on what you're leaving behind in 2023, or trying, in the process of leaving behind, and how that will affect your 2024. Don't tell group 1 this, but you and group 2 got to see this cool new desert rose that I got. So, and if you're here from group 1, hey. So this flower makes me think of, obviously, blooming, really coming into yourself and maturing and being nurtured, allowing your colors to shine, growth. And we're going to see, okay, so this is going to be a detail of what you are leaving behind or what you have left behind. Then we're going to use tarot to see how that will affect your 2024. And then we're just going to get some message cards. Alrighty. I'll put those on right here. So, we've got card number 78 with Anima Mundi. We've got card 16 with the Shaman. We have Themis, Destiny, card number 10 with Master Manifester in reverse. I don't normally take these in reverse, but for this reading, it felt right. Card number 6 with Virgo and Digest. And then number 14 with Past Life. So I'm trying to see. We've got 5 right there. 15, 16, that's 7. And this was 78, 6. We've got 2 6s then. But nothing that really, I guess, is major. Okay, so let's get started. So we have Destiny and the Shaman, which sticks out to me first. And those are very spiritual concepts. I feel like maybe in the past you were somebody who just kind of left situations up to chance, believing that, the universe would take care of it, or trusting, that what was meant to be will be, which are very good attitudes to have. But there can be times when those mentalities are actually counterproductive to our growth and our success. With Themis, this talks about justice, and she's got the blindfold on, which indicates, blind faith. And what that signifies to me is perhaps there were situations that were unjust to you, or people who were unjust to you, and you kind of maintained this attitude of like, it's all right, everything will work out. Karma, which karma in the way that we use it a lot is not actually correct. Is it dharma? Is that the one that's like technically about our day-to-day lives? I don't remember. Karma is actually supposed to be like our life points tallied at the end of our life, which indicates how we enter into the next one. But for the sake of this, I feel like you had this very strict sense of what was right and what was wrong, and heavily believed that everything would work out the way that it was supposed to. But I have this feeling that it's something that a mentality that you're kind of letting go of. And it's a little sad, it's this feeling of kind of losing this confidence and this optimism, and not necessarily feeling more jaded. I don't necessarily feel any resentment coming around in this, but just kind of more going from being an idealist to a realist. And at the end of the day, what's right isn't always going to be what happens, Sometimes shitty people make it in the world. And sometimes the people who do their best to live right or approach a situation with good intentions don't receive fair treatment, and I think there is a certain art to accepting that, because it is nice to think that if we go into a situation with a pure heart, that we will get what we deserve, and that if somebody wrongs us, they'll get what they deserve. But then if we encounter situations where that doesn't happen, it can be very devastating for us, and we can become very bitter. And so when we can accept that sometimes things don't work out in a just and fair way, or that maybe we're not going to get the closure we deserve, or maybe we're not going to get the justice that we deserve, there can be a sense of power in taking control of that and saying, okay, I'm choosing to let it go, because also when we sit here and we think like people are going to get what they deserve, we're kind of leaving the results in the hands of like the universe or other people. And sometimes that can be very disempowering. But when we finally get to a point where we say, okay, I know that sometimes life doesn't work out the way that it should. And I know sometimes shitty things are just going to happen, and I'm choosing to accept that and not spend excess energy on like pulling water from a stone, basically. If there's no way that a situation can be resolved in a just or fair manner, I think you're finally getting to a point where you're like, okay, I can let it go. What's really interesting to me here is we have several cards here that have like focus on the hands. And to me, that kind of makes me think of like, washing your hands clean. Um, we've got the Master Manifestor here in reverse, which this talks about the raven being scared of the spider, but the spider saying like, hey, I can help make your dreams a reality. And so once the raven accepts the fear and works with it, it's able to conjure the results that it wants. But in reverse, that can talk about feeling like maybe we don't have as much control over our future, or on the same token, feeling as if, sometimes maybe we have embraced our fear, we have walked into a situation confronting our fears, and maybe it hasn't turned out the way that we had wanted and that we had hoped. And that happens, but it's okay. We've got the Anima Mundi here. You can see this person is like in a meditation pose, and we've got all these like planets indicated. The Anima Mundi is all about how we like connect to the universe and how we connect to each other. And that brings me to Virgo, which is all about like separating the wheat from the stalk or whatnot. And Virgos do tend to be people who assimilate in a sense, we, I think, do thrive on a sense of like teamwork, or at the very least, like how we can contribute to society or to a situation. Like a lot of our worth is placed in like how we are useful. And you might have had this mentality of feeling as if you had to have a spot in life, like you had to fit in somewhere. And you may have had more of a mentality that focused on your place in the community. And I think you're kind of pulling that back now. So instead of saying like, how is my existence benefiting other people? What's my place in the world? I think you're pulling that back and you're looking more at like, what do I want to be? Who do I want to be? How do I value myself? And of course, it's very healthy to take others into consideration and be a person who's very self-aware of our impact. But on the same token, we can't sacrifice our individuality, It's kind of like, okay, so in America, we have a strong sense of individuality. It's like grow up, turn 18, move out, get a job, get married, go to college, blah, whatever. And it's great. We get to have our sense of individuality. Then, for instance, we have a huge crime rate in the States, like we do. But you go to somewhere like South Korea or Japan, which, yes, still has a focus on like the individual self, but there's so much importance placed on like family and community. So they have like a really low crime rate, which is great. Like South Korea is one of the safest places to travel to, even as a solo female traveler. But South Korea, for example, also has like the highest rate of suicide per capita. the stress can be just overwhelming. So it's best to have a balance somewhere in between there. And so I think you're really just pulling away from putting your focus onto others and more so just focusing on yourself. And Virgo it's ruled by Mercury, which is about communication. Mercury is also like, oh God, what's the Greek version of Mercury? Hermes. And Hermes was kind of, a little bit of a trickster. And so sometimes we can find communication tricky. It's tricky. It's also ruled by, let's see, it governs the digestive system and the nervous system. Okay, so that could indicate that in the past you were potentially guided by like your nerves or a sense of discomfort and trying to ease that. So for instance, like for me, I'm very non-confrontational because I don't like anxiety. I don't like fighting. So a lot of times I will just conform to what somebody wants because it's like easier. But sometimes that's not what should be done. Like sometimes I need to stand up for myself. And then we've got the past life here, which could talk about literally being a part of a past life, kind of letting go of the chains of that crossed over into this life, or it could talk about like you could literally be moving. So you physically could be leaving a situation, or this could also talk about, leaving behind something that was an intricate part of your identity, something that was really a definition of who you were, so that you can broaden and better yourself. All right, so now we're going to get into tarot. So how will this affect group 3? This is kind of similar to group 1, but group 1 felt like it was more of a focus on the release of religion or spirituality or tradition. This one feels more like leaving behind maybe like codependency or sacrificing the self for others. Okay, so how will this affect group 3's 2024? Okay, the Sun in reverse. How will this affect group 3's 2024? The 8 of Wands. The High Priestess in reverse with the 10 of Swords. Like this. And the 9 of Swords in reverse. So the Sun indicates that you may not experience as much joy, or you may not feel as lighthearted as you have in the past. And that, I think, is a normal a normal consequence of making a a large sacrifice or a large change. But the wonderful thing about the Sun in reverse is that even when it's in its like challenging phase, it is still relatively a positive card. You know, so it's not that you won't have fun times. It's not that you won't be happy. It's just I think 2024 is going to be a very serious year in your life. You know, it's going to be a year of where you're thinking more, you're critiquing more. I think it's really a cerebral year and less of like an active year, you know? Like you're thinking more than you're doing. The Eight of Wands, I want to get that more. That talks about quick movement. And so what you've let go of, I think, has really given you I don't know if it's a goal or a choice. So say, for instance, you were staying in your hometown because of your family, but you finally got to a point where you were like, dude, I'm not happy here. I think that indicates that once you're able to let that go, you'll be making the transition very quickly, you know, finding a place to stay, finding a job, getting your stuff packed. It's like, you know, I get this feeling of like, I'm not going to hold back. I'm not going to drag my feet about this. I'm not going to waste my time. I just, maybe for some of you, it's kind of this feeling of, I just can't wait. You know, I can't wait to be free. And so even though there isn't, I think, going to be a lot of action that you take in 2024, and it is going to be a lot of mental energy, the actions that you do take, I think, are going to be monumental. I do want to see if we have more information about this Eight of Wands. The Six of Cups in reverse with the Two of Cups. Okay. That definitely signifies to me letting go of the past and embracing something new. And for those of you where this deals with like physically moving or letting go of specific people, I think this indicates that there are going to be some new relationships that you develop in your life. And they're probably, you might be used to having a lot of people around you. And 2024 might be a year where you kind of downsize your social circle. So you might be kind of just weeding out some people that maybe haven't had your best interest at heart, or people that maybe you just don't really have that strong connection with, and maintaining a few friendships or relationships that are stronger, or it could just be, you know, releasing the old and inviting new people into your life. The High Priestess in reverse with the Ten of Swords. You want to get, because the High Priestess in reverse can mean a couple of different things. She can mean somebody who is disconnected from her intuition and is struggling in that respect, maybe not connected to like the universe, her spirituality. This can also mean somebody who is revealing truths, you know, because the High Priestess is somebody who's like mysterious and mystical, but in reverse, she can be somebody who's transparent. So I want to see how that, like, which way she navigates. Wow. The Eight of Swords in reverse, which talks about removing ourselves from self-imposed limitations. The Three of Pentacles talks about cooperating with others. And then the Ace of Wands in reverse is creating something new. The Ten of Swords definitely indicates that there's going to be a little bit of a stress and sense of like a burden. What's this Ace of Wands? Because that's kind of throwing me off. Oh my God. The Two of Swords with the Ace of Pentacles. The Three of Wands in reverse with the Empress in reverse. So that's investing in something new, but lacking expansion and nurturing. Oh, okay. I'm kind of getting it. What's this Ten of Swords then? The Six of Pentacles and the Nine of Wands. Oh, okay. Okay, I get it. So I do see you making or maintaining some connections that are meaningful to you, but I also see that there is a lot of, you may be experiencing a lot of stress trying to trying to understand where your limits should be and where you should be generous. Because obviously, like, if we aren't taking into others into consideration, or if we're not contributing to things, we can be placing a wall between ourselves and others, and we can be shutting them out. And that's something I don't think you want to do. Or conversely, even though if we're not trying towards something, you know, there's no way that we can be successful in it. You know, and then I think it's also the other side of the coin is you certainly don't want to give too much to others. You want to also nurture and care for yourself. And you don't want to be so dependent on positive outcomes that if a situation doesn't go your way, that it's painful for you. So I do think that there's going to be a lot of stress that you're experiencing this year in terms of like trying to develop that balance. But otherwise, I do see with this Nine of Swords in reverse, you're letting go of anxiety, you know. So even though there's stress, I do think that there's not as much fear. You know, you're not as worried about like, oh, what are people going to think of me? Or what if this doesn't happen? Or what if this happens? And you're just going to be more focused on like, okay, I'm trying to figure out what the what the balance should be. You know, but there's no clear-cut answer. It's kind of a long journey in discovering that. Okay, so now we're going to get some messages from the universe. What do you want to say to group 3? Okay. My body is always working toward optimum health. My body wants to be whole and healthy. I cooperate and become healthy, whole, and complete. I listen with love to my body's messages. Yeah, definitely. So, especially if you're experiencing stress, it's going to be very important for you to pay attention to what your body's telling you. You know, are you tired? Do you need to adjust your sleep schedule? Are you burning out? Do you need to kind of sacrifice like some of the work that you're doing? Are you lonely? Do you need to reach out for social interaction? Are you feeling cooped up? Do you need to get out and do something? It's going to be very important during this time for you to pay attention to what your physical needs and mental needs are. And then the past is over. This is a new day, one that I have never lived before. I stay in the now and enjoy each and every moment. Absolutely. You know, you're letting go of the past. We got that past life card. And you are embracing a new future and a new present reality. Because, you know, you don't always, like, the past doesn't have to define you. And if things that you were doing in the past weren't working for you, then you can always change it. I think you're realizing that, like, you have that power to do so. And I congratulate you, pile 3. So, if this reading was useful for you, please let me know how in the comment section down below. If you haven't subscribed already, I would love to have you do so, but you don't have to. And then, like, you can hit that notification bell to find whenever I upload a new video. Also, if you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you're interested in a personal reading with yours truly, you can find my contact information down below. Bye.